Yeah.
obviously the stuff with Trump happened. For
Yeah.
people that don't know, if they've been living under a rock, you, as a joke, posted a photo of you holding a mask with blood, whatever, what
Yeah.
ketchup? What was
Yeah.
it?
Catch up and catch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Trump people took it very seriously, way too seriously. By the way, do you think nowadays that it would have had the same kind of reaction?
I don't know because it was 2017, which seems like 10 lifetimes ago.
Mm,
I think it would have been different if it was a guy comic. I think Trump came for me because I'm a woman and I didn't have, like, I wasn't at Bravo anymore. Like, I didn't have any institutional support.
right.
And I think that's one of the reasons it snowballed. But if I was, I mean, I have posted the picture a couple of times since then. Like
Mhm,
the night that Trump did not concede, I
mhm.
posted it again. And it was mostly people going, "Oh, yeah, you tried to warn us." And, that photo can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. And I don't mind one bit if people think it's disgusting or offended. They're right. I have no issue with that at all.
Right.
I think if I posted it now, well, first of all, during Biden, it would be different because my investigation came directly from the Oval Office. And I know that because I filed a Freedom of Information Act and it revealed how serious they were. So if Trump gets reelected, which a lot of people think is possible, then
Mhm.
I would guess he would come for me again in some way, just because I know him to be very petty, and
Mhm.
I've known him for many years, off and on, and it seems like that's the sort of thing that kind of gets him off is going for people, and in particular women, which is why I took the photo.
Yeah.
He famously said, not that I want to freaking defend Megyn Kelly, but he had famously said when she was moderating one of the debates, there was blood coming out of her eyes, blood coming out of her wherever. So I
Mhm.
thought, okay, let's do a picture of him where there's blood coming out of his wherever. And that was about as deep as it went. It wasn't the most deep thought I've ever had. I
Right.
never thought the picture would see the light of day. I never thought the photographer would give it to TMZ, where Harvey Levin has a very cozy relationship with Donald Trump.
Mhm.
And then the photo was turned into a meme and sent to Iran and Russia and China. And then I was a terrorist and I was put on the no-fly list, which made it near impossible to tour. And so my
So,
work,
does that really mean you could not get on an airplane?
yeah. And so I couldn't get on an airplane any place in the United States or overseas. And then after 2 months, when I was finally exonerated, and I have an email from the Department of Justice saying, "You've been exonerated."
Mhm.
And I was not put on the no-fly list, but I was flagged. So I was stopped at every airport in the United States and overseas. And I was put on the Interpol list overseas. So I had to tour overseas first because I knew I couldn't make a living here because
Right.
people were still too mad at me. And the cancellation was no joke. And so I did a tour overseas first, and then Canada, and then the United States. But I was still stopped at every airport.
But I mean, do you think people really took that seriously? I mean, if you were to ask anyone with some common sense, they would know you're a comedian. Even if you weren't a comedian, it's a joke. It's stupid. It's like, what is with the big reaction? And I agree with you that he can be very petty. On a side note, Donald Trump called me personally when I happened to be in the middle of my scandal, and my
Yeah.
name was the most famous name in in not only the United States but probably the world for a good
Yeah.
hot minute. He
Yeah.
called me personally. He asked me to be on The Apprentice. I agreed, and then I felt like I it was a bad idea, so I backed out and instead I went on Celebrity Rehab because I felt a
Yeah.
connection with with Dr.
True.
Drew.
Yeah.
He went on TMZ with Harvey Levin and said, "I don't even know that girl. I've never spoken to her. I would never ask her to be on The Apprentice." And I was like, "What an asshole!" Like, it was because I chose someone else over him. So, and the other thing was, is then later he called to apologize, invited me to his New Year's Eve dinner, whatever that he has at Mar-Lago, and I went as a guest of someone. He hired someone that was Tiger Woods impersonator to walk around the room and try and get a photo with me. I mean, how dumb! Like, we're
I
talking about
mean,
someone in like eighth grade. You know what I
and
mean? It's
this is
stupid.
what, an 80-year-old man? I mean,
Yeah,
it's crazy.
yeah,
And so one of the reasons I took the photo is, look, there's a long history and legacy of comedians not just making jokes, but also making statements.
yeah.
Sometimes we say the stuff that's uncomfortable, and sometimes it's wrapped in a joke, and sometimes it's kind of just for shock value. So I agree. That photo was for shock value, but I felt like people, especially women, weren't taking it seriously enough to show how dangerous he really is.
Yeah.
I'm a proud Democrat. I'm not here to sway anybody's vote, but everybody knows how I feel. But
Mhm.
just the notion that the president of the United States and the attorney general could decide because they don't like you that they're going to put you on the no-fly list. Nobody, like you said, with any common sense, thought that I was going to go to the White House and chop off Donald Trump's head with a freaking machete or something. But
Right.
the number of people that act like that photo is real is just BS.
Yeah.
Because now the MAGA people, they love to recirculate that photo.
Mhm.
Like James Woods or Kevin Sorbo or all these stars that became MAGA people. They throw that photo up way more than I ever did. And they
Mhm.
love to say that I should be at Guantanamo Bay. So Trump does remember all this kind of stuff. So, he'll probably try to throw me in Guantanamo Bay with the other members of ISIS because I would put nothing past him.
Right.
And now a lot of the Trumpers have turned into QAnons. And so now the QAnon people think I went to Epstein Island with Hillary Clinton, Madonna, and Tom Hanks,
Oh,
and I'm harvesting baby parts. So I don't know what this world is that we're living in. Last time I checked, you're supposed to be able to make a joke about people, places, and things.
right.
But I do feel like about a third of the voting population is behaving like they're in a cult and acting like you thought I was a threat to your
Right.
leader really does look like BS 6 years later.